my computer. All right, I think I'm recording. So we're gonna go. First, I just wanted to, I'm gonna share my screen so that I can share the, I did a PowerPoint. So here we go. It's gonna blow this up here. I think I'm gonna blow it up. How do I do that? Let's see. Is this working? Okay, there we go. Let me know if you can see it. Just give me a thumbs up. Now it's not working. What the heck? Urgh. And my PowerPoint just crashed. Fun times. Fun times. All right, that might take a second to load up. Good timing, PowerPoint. Good timing. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Can you see it? Just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, cool. And the chat is missing, so I might have to check the chats later because I don't see it. But all right, so tonight we're going to talk about social media. I just have a few announcements. First, want to just recognize Success Club for January. There's the board, and yeah, so it was a pretty good month, and I'm excited for February with Team Cup and everything like that. I know we have 2 teams of Team Spark ladies rocking the cup. So it should be exciting, and it's a short month, but there's still plenty of time to help as many people as we can, and we have the all access challenge pack all the way till the end of the month, still on promotion. So that's what I'm basically talking to people about. You know, I'm finding out what their goals are, finding out what programs they like, and then letting them know, okay, here are a few options for you, and guess what? You can do all of them. You don't have to just choose one, but you can pick one to start, and then when you're done, you can move on to another program and then another one and another one for the entire year. So this all access challenge pack is honestly freaking amazing, and we're lucky that we have that for the month of February at such an amazing steal of a price. So hopefully, so also wanted to give a shout out so far to Jacqueline for recruiting a new coach to her team this month. So yay, Jacqueline. If you have any new coaches, we have started a new Coach 101 group that just kicked off. So make sure that your new coaches are getting plugged into the trainings and getting plugged into the group for support. There's the Team Pivot website, the new coach checklist that we have. So make sure that they're getting the support and the materials that they need to get started on the right foot. Hopefully you guys are all planning a free group this month. Mine is starting up next week, so I've been doing some advertising for that this week. The Team Spark coaching webinar is going to be February 22nd at 8:30. So keep that in mind with any current challengers you have that you think could be rockstar coaches, or anybody who you have in mind that you think would make a good entrepreneur. You know, keep that in mind to invite them to this week and next week. And then Team Pivot is also going to be running events too. So if my events don't happen to be convenient for you and you're not running your own, then feel free to add people to the Team Pivot events. There's going to be a challenge group webinar on Thursday at 9 o'clock. And then there is a pivot coaching webinar on the 23rd. And then there's going to be another coaching sneak peek on the 26th. So it might depend on the style of who you're talking to, what you think they would prefer, whether they want more of a live event or they want to go at their own pace. Personally, I've been getting people on the phone as soon as they're interested and using the groups as kind of a follow-up for just extra information. So if somebody says, yes, I'm interested, I am not going to wait for another week to get them plugged into that group, because who knows what's going to happen in a week. So I try to get them on the phone as soon as possible and talk to them about my experience with coaching, answer any questions that they have, and then say, if they're still unsure what they want to do, okay, I have this old sneak peek, or we have this webinar coming up, feel free to plug you into that so you can, learn even more information or something like that. And then March 6th will be the beginning of the March challenge group. So we have tons and tons of things to invite people here to. I know that inviting has been a big hang up for a lot of people. And, with all of these events, there should always be something we can invite people to. So hopefully that is helpful. One last shout out I wanted to give out was to Debbie for going live and getting super vulnerable. It was about a piece of chocolate, but it made me tear up, and it really was so emotional and so raw and so real. And I felt for her, and I just thought it was very brave. So way to go, Debbie, and keep up the great work, you guys. So I'm going to dive in to social media. So, a lot of this stuff is nothing new. It's a lot of stuff I've said before and said in different calls, but I think that it's worth kind of rehashing and going over again, just because sometimes, we might forget and we might need little reminders. So for me, 3 to 5 times per day is kind of the goal with social media. For me personally, I aim for 3. That's kind of what works for me and my life and my natural lifestyle and with posting, and it seems to be working with my audience as well. So I aim for 3 a day, once in the morning, once in the middle of the day, and then once in the evening. And sometimes if I'm having a really social day, then I might post a couple more times if we're doing something fun, or I might post less on the weekend if I'm kind of just taking a little break from social media. But we talk about doing 5 things that kind of make you. Obviously, fitness is one of them, and Beachbody is one of them, but it shouldn't be all of them. So, and then the jab, right hook method, which Gary Vaynerchuk came up with that book. If you haven't read that book, you should get your hands on it now if you need more help with social media. It's an amazing book. So why should you do 3 to 5 times a day? Basically for consistency. People need to see that you're showing up, that this is a real business, that this is a real thing, and it's not just some, some random thing in your life. This is a business, and people go online at different times, and so if you post at the same time every single day, you might be missing other people who tend to go on at other times of the day. So it's basically just to maximize the amount of people who are seeing your posts. And as for where to post, I strongly recommend Facebook, which I'm pretty sure all of you guys are already on, but I would recommend at least one other platform for social media, whether that's Instagram. And recently I've been all over Instagram stories. I love it because I really liked Snapchat when I first started, but I was finding that it was really hard to get people over to my Snapchat page. And I didn't have that many followers there. It was basically my mom and, other coaches, and which is great, but and for the business purposes, it wasn't really doing anything for me. And it was kind of sucking a lot of my time because I liked it. So I still snap from time to time, more or less just for fun. But I've been finding that IG stories is a great spot for me because I have such a bigger following on Instagram than I did on Snapchat. And I was finding that a lot more people were actually watching my stories. And I think it's great because it, a lot of times Facebook and Instagram can be sort of the highlight reel. It's very edited. And I think IG stories just kind of gives you a little more realness, like a closer look at what the person's personality is like. You kind of see more of the behind the scenes and just, it's just a lot less edited. So I kind of like that aspect of it. But that's what I typically use, Facebook and Instagram and IG stories. I also have a blog, which doesn't get as much love anymore because I'm so busy on these other platforms, but I still have it. YouTube is great. If you like making videos, YouTube is fantastic for coaches because it's also very searchable and people like watching videos. I mean, I think Marian made this 21 ways to dominate the 21-day fix video, and it just freaking blew up. And she has challengers and coaches on her team now because of that video that she made. So YouTube is a big place for coaches, and Twitter, Pinterest, Periscope, etc. So kind of find what you like and where you think your audience is and go in that direction. Okay, so to think about your 5 things, if you could just take a moment and think about what maybe your 5 things might be. These are mine, but obviously everyone's are going to be a little bit different. So mine are fashion, food, family, mom life, travel and adventures, and fitness. And then I added a 6th one here, which is coach life, just because I think that how you weave coaching into your everyday life is so important. And how, if you have another full-time job, how you balance your full-time job with coaching, how you fit it into your day. Because I think a lot of people are afraid that they're like, how am I going to fit this into my busy day? I'm already so busy. I don't think I have time for this. So I think just kind of showing how you weave it in can be really beneficial. And just showing little perks about how the coach life can affect all of these other things on your list. So here's just an example of, this was, a fashion post, I guess you could say. It was my outfit on a date night. It got like 95 likes, which is a lot for me. And at least recently. And so, and I didn't say anything about coaching or anything like that. It's just showing a different side of my personality that, it kind of makes me feel like I need to do more fashion posts because obviously people like when I do that. So if you're finding things that you're posting are getting more traction than others, go with what's working. That would mean I would have to get out of these athletic clothes more often. But that's real life. But that's something I can talk about, right? Like, I'm finally getting dressed up for a date night. I haven't got dressed up all week. Like, I used to have a fashion blog and now it's like kind of, a lifestyle blog because I don't have time to, take photos of my outfits every day anymore. So, something to talk about. This was like another fashion kind of thing that I did last year, but it was an opinion poll. Basically, people love to give opinions on pretty much anything. So I was like, should I do the splurge, do the steal? And then I kind of put it in like, I'm going to, I threw in there that this was for my Success Club trip to the Caribbean that I, earned through coaching. So you can kind of weave that stuff in there without being overly annoying about it and make it fun. by giving them something to comment on. And I think when I was pregnant, I did a post like, should I do glass bottles or plastic bottles, and like, what are the advantages, disadvantages? Of course, then my child ended up not wanting to take any bottle, as Erin and I were talking about before. But yeah, so people love to give their opinions. So this is just a family post that, you know, people love seeing pictures of my kids, and so it kind of ties in. It's in the grocery store. My husband was going to the grocery store to stock up on healthy food for the week. And I was getting a mommy break, but also like getting some work done. And so I kind of was able to throw together like this all-inclusive post of all these different aspects of my life that sort of had to do with coaching, but really just had to do with like a healthy lifestyle. So that's like another example. This was an example of going on the Success Club trip last year, because traveling was one of our goals, and the fact that I was able to win this trip for my family and bring them along was really exciting. So I talked about that. And then this just kind of just shows the day in the life of, you know, I'm going to the post office with my little assistants to drop off prizes for my challengers. And that's it. And like, none of these posts are like, hey, come join my challenge group, la, 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 $999 sale. Like, none of that, because there's nothing more annoying than going on Facebook and having people try to sell you stuff, right? These are all like about, you know, just sharing the lifestyle, trying to create a community of people, trying to get conversations going, and to find other people who are interested in the same things that I'm interested in. Which brings me to jab, 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 right hook. These are all examples of jabs. Not every post can be a right hook or a call to action, because that can be salesy and gross. So you have to throw these little jabs in before throwing the right hook. Oh, I can see the chat. Let's see. Yes, I know exactly what you mean, Erin. So, you know, think about, what do you have to offer? How can you provide value to other people? And, you know, because I think that there's a lot of Beachbody coaches out there, and a lot of them are doing the 21-day fix, but why should somebody do the 21-day fix with you? Probably because they like you, right? And so why do they like you? Because of these certain qualities that you have and things you talk about. And so keep going with that. You know, think about the people who have joined you thus far and how you know them, and what type of person that you're trying to attract. So let's see, get all this chat thing. Okay. So here's just another example of a jab. It's a picture of my son, but I talked about Mondays because it's a pain point for a lot of people, right? The weekend's over and they got to go back to work on Monday. And, you know, a lot of people are like gloomy on Monday. And so I talked about how we're having a blast on Monday. And it's because I've been able to create this life by design where I can, you know, take my kids to this play gym in the middle of the day on a Monday, and then go back home, they rest, and I get some work done. So just kind of, again, showing the lifestyle without being overly in people's face about like, join my team, join my team, join my team. Another one, this is just toddler stuff. Having, you know, I talked about eating and how he won't eat dinner and things like that. And so I had a lot of comments from other moms who are going through the same thing. So just this is a post to kind of just try to connect with other moms of 3-year-olds. This is another job that does get a little more into Beachbody, because you do have to show that you are actually using Beachbody programs and that they are getting results. So, you know, there's a little sliver of the abs in there, but, you know, the muscle, just to kind of show that like I am working hard and it's not all fun and games. Like, it is work too. But, that you always have, I talked about having a fresh start, a clean slate, and that I was excited for the challenge group coming up. So it wasn't actually inviting anybody to join the challenge group, but it was getting, showing that it was like I was excited and other people were excited to get going. So those are all kind of the jabs. So some jab guidelines are to create content that stands out, to be interesting, be entertaining, things that ask questions, anything that can add value, teach something. So whether it's like, giving out a recipe or giving out a meal plan or just posting a photo of a meal that you're cooking that week and then saying, then you can even do a call to action at the bottom that says like, if you want, if you're interested in learning more about my recipes for the week, message me and I can email you my meal plan for the week. So just a way to kind of start the conversation, right? We want ways to start the conversation. So I think I talk about this later on, but like try not to give everything away right away. So if somebody asks for the recipe, don't post it right on the page because then nobody else needs to ask you for it. The more people that ask you for it, then that creates more conversations and opens more doors and makes things less awkward when you want to invite them because they commented first, right? So it's all about providing value for people and eventually that will come back to you in the universe. If you haven't read The Go-Giver, it's a really, really good book about this topic exactly, just providing value and expecting nothing in return. But it's a quick read and I definitely recommend Go-Giver for sure. But social media aside, you do have to personally invite because I think some people can just get so caught up in social media, but they're not actually doing the behind the scenes. Like you might see the top coaches, Amy Silverman and Anita Myron and Megan Ewelton and everybody, posting on social media and you think like, oh, people just reach out to them because they're so big now that, they just post on social media and everybody just, writes to them and they don't really have to reach out to anybody anymore. But that is so not true. I can't tell you how many calls I've listened to where they say like a majority of their work that they do is behind the scenes. It's conversations. It's back and forth emails with people. It's getting to know your potential challengers. So it's not necessarily a social media business. It's a relationship business. It's not just posting interesting content, but it's creating conversations out of your interesting content and getting to know who you're talking to, asking them questions. And if somebody comments on your post, so then like reach out to them with a message and say like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe we're going through the same thing or yada, yada, whatever it happens to be. Like that should open up, your social media should open up the door for further conversations. Whoops. Okay, so, and this, eventually you got to throw that right hook. So here's an example of a right hook post. This one in particular is, trying to create a sense of urgency. This was like a second post I did about my February challenge group. So I had done my first one already. And this was kind of like a last ditch effort for 3 spots left. Anybody, this is kind of your last chance to join the group sort of thing. Which as we know, obviously people can really start the group whenever they want to, but for some reason people are so hooked on start dates and if they, people don't want to miss the start date. So if you let them know that this is, it creates that urgency and then they want to join. So that's one right hook I did. And here's another right hook I did about the coaching opportunity. So this was about an online happy hour that we did. And this is just me at Sundance. And I just kind of, in the beginning, I kind of told my coaching story. So when you are thinking about posts, is specifically coaching posts, when you're kind of, trying to think about what you might want to write about coaching. Think about what attracted you to coaching. I know for me, it was having more freedom, being able to travel more, the potential of upward mobility, spending more time with my kids, working from home and not having a boss, and then reaching my own personal fitness goals. And so because these are the things that attracted me, these are probably going to be the things that will attract my tribe. So when I'm writing posts about coaching, I try to keep these things in mind. And so, for example, here's one. This is me working by the pool, which I'm on vacation, but it kind of shows that, like, okay, I take my business seriously because I am working on vacation. However, I am working by the pool, which is pretty sweet that I'm able to bring my work with me and get more vacations, because I can bring it on the road. Okay, so then a couple other things to think about when you're thinking about what the heck do I post about. Think about things that make you normal. What kind of things do you like that maybe a lot of other people like? Or what kind of things do you struggle with that maybe a lot of other people struggle with? Or, for me, I'm a mom of young kids. I need a lot of coffee. So I talk about coffee a lot, and I get a lot of people commenting on my coffee stuff, whether it has to do with my different mugs. People love my Elwood mug for, the unicorn mug. Or I've been talking a lot about the Califia Farms lately, the cold brew. So coffee has kind of become like one of my things that I talk about a lot, and people always comment on my coffee posts. So I know that there's a lot of other people out there who enjoy coffee and want to talk about it. Wine is another thing. So I'll talk about wine. Sometimes there are team calls or happy hours and things like that, girls' nights. Mom life, obviously, I talk about that a ton, and I know a lot of other moms out there can absolutely relate, trying to, balance work life and mom life, and just multitasking and all the things that go along with being a mom. I have a big sweet tooth, so, I'm constantly looking for healthier sweet options. It's also an open door to talk about Shakeology, because that helps with the sweet tooth struggle. But that's something that a lot of people struggle with is sweet tooth. And so that's something that I can talk about regularly. And then the last thing is I hate doing dishes and cleaning, which I know a lot of other people hate doing that too. So here is one of my posts I did with the new salted caramel cold brew. I got a bunch of comments about it. Where can I find it? I love it, different things like that. And then think about, okay, so those things made me normal. Now what things make me special? So think about what things that you have that maybe aren't like everybody else's posts, that people will want to come back to you because they know you are that go-to person for da-da-da-da. So for me, that I get a lot of traction on my fashion posts, so I know I have to keep doing those. I was an athlete back in the day, and so when talking about coaching and being on a team now, I often bring up my teams of the past and how I've always thrived in a team environment. And so I hope to reach other athletes like me, who maybe they were athletes back in the day, but kind of lost themselves after becoming a mom. I try to do a lot of keep it real moments. People seem to like when I'm just making some crazy ass face and just talking about something nuts that happened that day with my kids or whatever. And so, I do a lot of the keep it real moments. My lately posts I do on my blog, and those are always my most viewed blog posts every single time. So that's something, pretty unique that I do. Pandas, obviously, I'm obsessed with pandas and everybody knows it. So people are constantly sending me things like, oh, check out this panda shirt, or check out this panda video, or check out this panda thing. So people know that I'm like the go-to panda person. So they'll, send me stuff about that. And then I also like to document any adventures or photography of our travels and things like that, which might be unique to other coaches. Other coaches might not care so much about what the photography looks like of their photos, but I'm very into Instagram, and I do like photography. So that's something that's special to me. Here's like a throwback post I did on being an athlete back in the day, and how how I felt back then, and how Beachbody has kind of not necessarily been a replacement for that, but it's got me back into this shape like I used to be. It's given me that team environment, that positive community that I used to have. So, okay, I'm going to try to keep flying through. I know it. Okay, so I think I'm still on track for time, but so what have you overcome? Think about things you've overcome. So for me, it's finding time for myself, feeling like myself after mom, balancing work mom life, not truly believing in myself. Back when I worked at other jobs, I kind of felt like, okay, well, this is like about all this is all my potential here. And if I go somewhere else, I'm going to have to start from the bottom. So I guess I'll just stay. And I just kind of talked myself into staying where I was comfortable instead of getting out of my comfort zone and really believing that I could do more in my life. So I've been out of a job. So I've had the struggle with being on unemployment and having to figure out how, we're going to survive on one paycheck living in New York City. It hasn't been easy. And we're currently still going through this crazy financial struggle, and with foreclosures in different states and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's worth talking about. I think even though I haven't fully overcome it yet, I think talking about it while I'm going through the journey is also kind of keeping it real and, showing that like, this is why I'm still doing this, because I want to reach these goals for my family and for myself. And so, so thinking about overcome, whether it could be as simple as I really didn't want to work out today, but I checked into my challenge group and everybody was there cheering me on. And I said, you know what, like I'm going to push through today. And I did it, just, it can be as simple as that. Or it can be a much bigger story. I love that Lindsay Matway, one of the top coaches in Beachbody, has always says, turn your mess into a message. And I love that because she went through a lot growing up, and she, and she tells her story and she changes it into a positive story of overcome rather than just this Debbie Downer story. So, okay. So here is actually a post I recently did about this envelope, which held the money to my kids' school tuition that month. And, when we were talking about, moving up to the next year, and we were going to then hire an assistant for the school, and we were getting a new space in the school, we were talking like a huge chunk of an increase that with my current income then, I was like, how are we going to afford this? We're going to be living on credit cards every single month. Like, how are we going to go through this? And so this just meant so much to me that I was able to, with 1 week's worth of a paycheck, I was able to pay for my entire month of my son's school tuition. So that's something that was really scary and uncomfortable for me to share because I don't like talking about finances. And I feel like it is something that like, maybe it's an ego thing, but like I'm uncomfortable with the fact that I'm not making what I want to be at right now because I personally think I'm capable of more. And so it make me like, and you get scared because you're like, well, what if somebody doesn't want to join my team because they don't think they're actually going to make any money or yada, yada, yada. But it's like, but no, like this is real life. This is a real business. This is an entrepreneurship, and it does take hard work, and it does take time. It doesn't just happen overnight because you decide you're going to open a business that you're just going to be successful in 6 months. It takes time, and with the growth that is happening, it really is growing. And so just sharing this, I think, is important, even though it's scary sometimes. Like a lot of times those posts, I mean, it got over 100 likes and a ton of comments from people that could either relate. So I think even though it was so scary and hard for me to share something that personal about finances, it was a good decision, because I feel like other people, I'm not the only person out there who's had financial struggles. And so, or, you know, they can't buy clothes for themselves because they have to save it for the kids or the food or whatever. And so I think sharing those moments can just really go a long way. So, oh, I saw the chat come up. Where did it go? Yeah, I know. And I think that's why I've struggled so long, because it's your pride, and it's so hard to share that, I think. But I'm trying to be more open and be more vulnerable about it, because just because I know that it is so important and that it can reach so many people, and like, because not a lot of people do talk about it. So anyway, so here's, I loved this. I saw this at a Super Saturday back, I think last year, and I just love it. And I continue to share it because I think it's so great. But there's 4 parts to your story. 1 is your background, your backstory. 2 is what you didn't like about your situation at the time. So think about, like, before you became a coach or before you joined a Beachbody Challenge group, what were you not happy about? For me, I was completely out of shape. I was out of a job. There was a lot of things I didn't like about my current situation. Then the solution, which is Beachbody, and then why you're excited about the future. So I try to share this pretty regularly with people, because you have to kind of, you know, I've been a coach for 2 years now, and I've grown a lot and I've changed a lot. And so I feel like I'm a different person than when I started out. And so I have to remember, though, who I was when I started, because that's the person that I'm trying to reach. I'm not trying to reach somebody like me now. Somebody like me now gets up every day, does their workout for 30 minutes, tries to eat healthy, checks in with their challenge groups. But, you know, that wasn't me 2 years ago. I was lucky if I went for a run like once every 6 months at that time in my life. Like, I did not make time for me at all, and I couldn't find myself. And so I have to make sure that, like, and I was in a bad mindset. Like, I was just stuck in a job that, like, I enjoyed, but, like, it wasn't furthering my career. And so I had like a bad mindset. And so I've come so far since then, but I have to remember that my posts need to be focused towards those people that are in my shoes of where I was, because those are the people that are going to join your team, not somebody who is where you are now. Oh. Okay. All right. A couple, let's see. Let me see my notes here. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so some social media no-nos. Just quickly, stock photos. You know, pictures of, you know, it's okay to, like, take a photo of, you know, your program when it comes in the mail or something like that. But I would try not to do it so often, like the containers and the Shakeology cup and all of those kind of photos that every other Beachbody coach is posting, unless you're kind of doing it in a creative way. Like, I might try to do it in a wine glass with a cute little saying on it, or, you know, I try to kind of do it a little bit different so that it's not just like, oh, another Shakeology selfie, cool. And definitely no stuff from like the Beachbody website, like $199 sale and stuff like that, because that's just icky and salesy. And I mean, you laugh, but you'd be surprised like how many people when they start out as coaches like do that stuff, and because they just don't know. They just think like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Maybe other companies do that, and so they see other people do it. But okay, then post without a photo. And the reason why I say this, because I think that a lot of good content and a lot of good material gets lost in the scroll because there's no photo. I've seen a lot of coaches on our team specifically lately doing great posts, but it's going to get scrolled by because there's nothing to capture your eye when you're scrolling. There needs to be a good photo, one of you either smiling or just like a cute thing of your kids, and then you can tell the great story, but you have to have a photo to go along with it. And you don't always have to take a photo and then post right away. You can take photos like all day long and then like go into your backlog when you finally have like a cute story about your kid. Like go in your backlog and just pick an old photo of the kid. Like it doesn't have to be like that moment that you did it. So yeah, use photos with your posts always. The next thing, leading with the product is a no-no. Lead with you, lead with your support group, lead with your 30-minute workouts. At some point, yes, they do need to know that you are a Beachbody coach, because you don't want to have the opposite problem of people saying, oh, I thought you were doing your own thing. I didn't realize this was the 21-day fix you did, or, whatever. So, but, leading with the other amazing things about you and your group and the support rather than just another person doing the 21-day fix. Using someone else's voice. So I know we say a lot like work smarter, not harder, and I totally agree with that. Sharing content, sharing ideas, and things like that. But the worst thing that you can do is to copy that word for word or talk like somebody else. In the beginning as coaches, a lot of people, they'll go to their uplines page or they'll go to other top coaches that they emulate or are inspired by, and they'll kind of just use their post or similar. And I think a good trick is to, before you post it, read it out loud and see if it sounds like you. And if you're like reading it out loud and you're like, I would never say gosh darn golly, like don't write that on your post. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that like Marian might say that like I would never say. And so if I try to go copy her post, even though we have a lot of things in common and we're very similar in terms of our personality, but like we don't talk exactly the same. So if I try to copy her post, like it's going to sound cheesy and not like me. And then the last thing is using too much Beachbody lingo. So we don't want to sound like a cult. If you're not in it, you don't understand it necessarily. Like people might not know what personal development means. People might not know what T25 is. People might not know what Shakeology. I mean, they might not know all of these things. It's okay to use it sparingly, but like also if you're going to use it, like maybe explain it so that people understand what it is. So like, for example, I posted about T25 the other day on Insta stories, and then I was like, okay, so what is T25? And then I just said, you know what, it's a cardio workout, and it's, most of my workouts are 30 minutes, but this one's 25. So, just kind of good explaining to people that aren't already in the Beachbody world, because otherwise you can kind of talk over them and they don't understand what you're talking about, if that makes sense. So social media, yeses. We talked a little about this earlier, but make people curious. Don't give away all the information up front. So like that was how I was saying with the recipe. If you post a cool picture of your photo and people are asking for the recipes, don't just give the answer there. Just say, I'll PM you the recipe or something. So that way it opens up the door for another conversation. Good lighting is super important in your photos as well, because again, if you're scrolling and scrolling, you're going to skip over the dark dull lit picture. You're going to look at the bright picture with the smiling face and things like that. So personally, I love PicTapGo is my favorite. I know there's other people who like Afterlight or I don't even remember what the other ones are, but those are my two favorites that I love. And then I use WordSwag if I want to add any text on it. And then some people also like Photofy, I think, is a good one. But creating urgency in your call to action, we talked a little bit about earlier too, like letting people know what the start dates are going to be, and same thing in your conversations. I always try to create urgency. Simple is okay. Not every post has to be a novel. Not everybody wants to read for 10 minutes a post. So yes, you do need to have your emotional, vulnerable, raw posts. But if you do like a few simpler ones and they're great, then when you do a longer one, people are going to say, okay, I actually want to take the time to read this. But if every single one is like a long novel, people are going to be like, okay, I don't have time to read every single long post like this. So, and then with getting vulnerable, I would say at least once a week, try to get vulnerable with at least one aspect, whether it's, something to do with accomplishments working out or with coaching, how it's changed you, or just some part of your story, just digging deep into your story and not necessarily anything to do with fitness, but just how you've grown in your life. And again, speak to the old you and know who you're talking to, know who your audience is. If you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. So it's okay to be kind of specific with who you're talking to in your posts. Okay, the number one way to have content to post is to follow a program. And that's from start to finish, nutrition plan and all. 100% when I am following my program to a T, that's when I have the most content to share because I have good recipes to share, because I have a program I'm following, because I'm getting results to share, because I'm reading my PD and I'm learning from my PD and I have things to share from that. So when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do every day, that's when I have the best content to share. And I know like when I'm not, if I'm like not eating well or not doing anything, I'm like, oh, well, God, I can't share that. So, or you can and keep it real, but you know what I mean? Like it's following the program start to finish, you're going to have way more things to share about your health and fitness journey at least. Okay. And then my next point is live. Go freaking live, you guys. This was like, I was not even planning on going live with this. It was like a last minute, like, oh, why don't I just go live with this? And my living room was a freaking mess. I kept tripping on the stupid playmat. And so I just kicked it out of the way. And I was like, whatever. I don't care if my living room looks a freaking mess. I don't care if I look stupid. I'm just going to go live. And there was over 1,000 views on this post, which is the most I've ever had. And it was unplanned and I looked like, a fool. But going live, like so many more people, I mean, at least with this, how many people are seeing it. You don't really know how many people are looking at your posts and scrolling over it or things like that. But at least this, how many people are watching it. And it can kind of give you feedback on what people like, what people don't like. But going live, I think, has been such a game changer for me. And I was really scared to go live in the beginning. I held off for a long time, and my success partner, Gretchen, was going live like every day. And I'm like, God, really, Gretchen, every day? Like, how are you doing this? Like, I don't have something to go live with every single day. But you really do. I mean, it doesn't have to be just working out. I started a live at 9 where I'm just talking about different topics. It doesn't even have to be a planned thing. It can just be, hey, we're at the bowling alley and this is the fun thing that we're doing today, or we're going grocery shopping. Let me take you through my shopping trip today. I mean, Aaron, yours would probably be amazing with like your kids and like, but that's like real life too, who knows? I mean, it might be kind of hard to hold the phone, but yeah, so going live, I think, has been a complete game changer. You know, video was a game changer, but live is even better. So keep going live. Okay, now I have like tons of posting ideas. So you might want to go back and watch this again, but I know that lots of people were struggling with what to post every day. So I was like, I'm just going to sit here and write out every single thing I can think out of ideas to post about. So, you know, your stories of overcome, enjoying the moment. There's a chat on. I always say it's hilarious. Love that. Expressing gratitude, being silly, trying something new, what you're wearing right now, how you're feeling right now, how you're multitasking, invite posts, motivational posts, throwback Thursdays, recipes, family, transformations, results, coaching op posts, how coaching has changed you, lifestyle of coaching, goals you're working toward, a note to past you, sharing a flaw, going live with your story, going live with a workout, going live just having fun with your family, Shakeology, but kind of talking more about like why, like what's in it, what meal did it replace, it's cheaper than a meal out, it's great for a mom on the go kind of posts, instead of just like, hey, drinking my Shakeo, you know, just kind of giving people reasons why that they should drink it and why it helps you in your life. Weekend fun, girls' night, team calls, accomplishments. Actually, I have my team call post docked up, ready to go after this. Accomplishment, progress, free challenges, scenery, just where you are right now, shoes, what you're currently reading, something fancy, music, something beautiful, something to celebrate, determination, outside, meal prep. I mean, there's so many freaking things you can post. So there's no way after this that you guys cannot think of things to post. It's there. So, and then the last thing I wanted to go over quickly, I know we're a little over time, just because a few people had said that they were having trouble with coming up with posts in their challenge groups. So a couple ideas of things that I do are photo of the day. And you can kind of just type in photo of the day for like whatever month on Google, and you can get so many ideas and then kind of create your own, make it your own. A point system challenge I've done challenges like right now with personal development books. I've done daily themes where it's like, you know, motivational Monday, tasty Tuesday, wacky Wednesday, work, you know, or thankful Thursday, you know, different things like that. I've done a happiness theme group where every day was a different happiness challenge. I've done thankful themes where every day you're great, you know, what are you grateful for kind of thing. And I think we should be really proactive as a team to share share what we're doing. So, and I've been guilty of this too. Like I should just share some of my photos of the day, challenge banners and things like that I've done in the past with you guys, so that we don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Like for example, Andrea had posted one in the diamond group and Holly was like, oh my God, thank you. This, like, I'm using this for my next challenge group. Now that's like one less thing I have to do. So I think we should be really conscious about sharing with each other, like things that went well. Like if you had a group that went amazing, share it with the team, because we can all benefit to share ideas with each other. And then just a few tips on the challenge groups is to plan in advance. So the app, I don't know if most of you guys are using the app now, but we've kind of moved over to the app now since that was kind of my challenger demand this past month. And it lets you schedule your posts, which is amazing. So I can go in and if I want, I can schedule all my posts for the entire week, or I could even schedule them for the entire challenge if I wanted to. If I had a weekend to sit down and just write out all the posts for the challenge, you can do that. And I mean, the challenge group that I'm doing right now, You Are a Badass, a lot of the material I got from Marian, because Marian had done a You Are a Badass challenge. So like I'm using a lot of her same quotes. and all of that through the challenge. So it's like, I don't have to come up with, it doesn't take me an hour to come up with a post. It might take me like 10 minutes to come up with something to post. And then save everything in a Google Doc so you can reuse it. Like I have a 21-day fix group with all the ideas of things that I posted throughout just saved in there, so then I can copy, paste it, tweak a couple things. Of course, I'm not going to use the same thing every single month, but you can save it and you can tweak it. Now the app lets you do that too. So the app saves all your old posts. So I've been able to go in and go through like some of those posts, like the measurements that I post every month, or like the here's the video to watch, like that those kind of posts I'm gonna post every single time. You can go in and just find it, grab it, and repost it into your new group. So those are just some little tips to share and work smarter, not harder, and keep things exciting and motivating within your challenge groups. So to close, social media is not a media. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships, which I just loved about this, because it was just that reminder that, like, yes, we're posting on social media, but it's not just about the content that you're sharing. It's about the responses that you're getting back. It's about engaging with your followers. Like, you should literally be commenting. If anybody that comments on your post, you should be reaching out to them. You should be, responding to them, and building that relationship with them, because that's what it's all about. So that's all she wrote. Well, thank you for joining the call live. As always, I truly appreciate anyone who comes live, because I know that people can just watch the recording, but it's so much more fun when people show up. And so thank you for joining, Erin. And I hope you have a good night. I won't keep you any longer. I know you have lots of little guys to get back to.
You're fine. You're fine. They're all asleep now.
Okay, good. All right.
That's me. So sorry.
Oh, don't worry. He's adorable.
Oh.
All right. All right, Mama. You have a good night.
You too.
And I'll see you on the team page.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye, girl.